Did you all get to see the eclipse last Monday? I hope you did. To me, I thought it was the most amazing and spectacular event that I've ever witnessed. Reality exceeded expectations. The whole thing might have been overhyped, and I was kind of tending to think that beforehand. But when it happened, I thought, wow, this is something. But as the sun darkened and the world became like dusk around me, I thought to myself, and I was by myself, but I thought, only the hand of God could arrange something like this. No human had a hand in what I'm witnessing. Only somebody greater than us could have done so. A few days later, I read an article in the paper with comments from various people about the eclipse. One was from an astronomical scientist, and she said, "Eclipses have significant astrological influence, often highlighting turning points in a person's life and bringing about profound changes and opportunities for growth." And she went on to say, eclipses symbolize new beginnings and offer opportunities for renewal. Now, I have no idea if this person was a religious person or not. I suspect not. But, and I know you're wondering how I'm going to get to something religious here. But thinking in religious terms, I thought she was describing the significance of the resurrection. I was thinking she was talking about Jesus' resurrection. For it too was a turning point in people's lives, presenting opportunities for renewal. But unlike eclipses that last maybe 4 minutes and then the sun brightens again, Jesus' resurrection continues to be a turning point, even for us today. Look at the reaction of the apostles in that gospel we just heard. They were overawed and amazed, we're told. And then Jesus spoke to them simply, "Peace, peace be with you." That had to be for them a moment like any other, unlike any other, marking a distinct change in their thinking and living. And the resurrection remains so for us today, 2,000 years later, marking a change for us and presenting opportunities for growth and renewal. That's what Easter is all about. That's what Lent was for, to prepare us for this moment, this turning point, this opportunity for growth and renewal in our lives. But of equal significance, I believe, is that Jesus chose to reveal himself in his risen body at a meal. At a meal. The most ordinary thing that people do. The most ordinary thing that you and I do on a daily basis. Recall, it was also in the context of a meal at the Last Supper that Jesus foretold his passion and death. And at that moment he said to the apostles, "Do this in memory of me." In other words, don't let it stop here. You carry on with what I have done and with what I've done for you. The gospel we heard today is the continuation of the account in the Gospel of Luke when Jesus appeared to the disciples on the road to Emmaus on Easter night, which is my favorite gospel passage. And so if you're around when I die, you're going to hear it again. But on that night, as the disciples were walking back to Emmaus from Jerusalem, and they were talking about what had happened in Jerusalem, Jesus came upon them and began to talk to them and explaining to them the meaning of the scriptures, that he had to suffer and die. But they did not recognize him. But once they reached the house at Emmaus, they invited Jesus in to stay and to eat. And he asked them if he could join them. Hospitality in action. They sat down to table, and Jesus took the bread, blessed it, and handed it to them. Then, and only then, did they recognize that it actually was Jesus who had walked with them on the road. Then the scriptures tell us their eyes were opened to the meaning of all that had happened in Jerusalem. But it was in the natural elements of food and drink, of taking and eating and drinking, that Jesus revealed to them his true and risen presence. And my sisters and brothers, my friends, Jesus continues to do that here for us today at this altar, in the bread and wine that are offered here in every Mass. Here, Jesus becomes truly present in our midst, as he was on that Easter night. It is in this great sacrament, the source and summit of our faith, that Jesus makes himself known to us, really and truly present to us, and shares himself, body and blood, with us in Holy Communion. We become one with him, and he becomes one with us. Communion. This is the focus of the Eucharistic revival that has been taking place at this time, and which continues leading up to a Eucharistic Congress this summer in Indianapolis. And you'll find in your pews these cards. So after communion starting today, and at every Mass, we'll begin saying this prayer together for the Eucharistic revival. St. Peter, in the first reading today, encouraged the people to repent and be converted. So let us take these words to heart as we celebrate here Jesus' true and risen presence with us and among us. Let this be our opportunity for growth and renewal, a real turning point in our lives.